Morning, everyone. So, we will begin our class today again with the recall of what we have done in our previous class. In our previous class, we have seen the Nazis' worldview, and Hitler's worldview was very much similar with the Nazis' ideology. And according to this ideology, we have seen that there was no equality between people, but only the racial hierarchy was there. And then we have further seen that in his views, the blood blue-eyed Nordic German Aryans were at the top, and then Jews were located at the lowest category of the society, and they came to be regarded as an anti-race or arch enemies of the Aryans. So now there was great difference between the people there during the Nazi party rule of Nazi party, and the Jews were regarded as the arch enemy, that is the staunch enemies of the Aryans, and they were kept at the lowest category, lowest position of the society. Then further, we have seen about the this Lebensborn. In this, we have seen another ideology of Hitler. It was Lebensraum, and it was the meaning was living space. Lebensraum means living space, and he believed that is Hitler believed that new territories had to be acquired for the settlement, and this would widen the area of the motherland and their resources, and that is why he wanted to enhance in the geopolitical concept of living space. Then further we have seen that he also wanted a society consisting of only pure and healthy Nordic Aryans, which according to Hitler, according to Nazi party, were the highest category of people, the Nordic Aryans. So the Hitler wanted a society consisting of only the pure and healthy Nordic Aryans. Even Hitler considered blacks, Gypsies, and Jews as racial inferiors. So, on the other side of the Nordic Aryans, there were inferior people who were considered as undesirables. They were black, Gypsies, and Jews, and they were persecuted on the wide scale, means they were treated very badly by the Nazi party people. But the worst sufferers were the Jews. Mainly, the mostly sufferers in the Nazi time was the Jewish people. Here we have seen, and then it they were the stereotyped. They were stereotyped as killers of Christ. Means they were thought already the in the mind it was set that they were the killers. The Jews were the killers of Christ, and the users by the Nazis. Users, I have already stated that what does the word users means. Here it is written that money lenders who were charging excessive interest on the money. So these Jews were considered as the uh, killers of Christ also, and the people who used to charge excessive money from the people. That was the belief of Nazi people for the Jews, and they were made to live in separate marked areas known as ghettos. These Jewish people were kept in the separate areas, and it was called as ghettos. So, what was ghettos? Ghettos were the living areas, that is, separate living areas, marked areas, uh, but for the Jewish people, for the undesirables to keep. And then concentration camps and gas chambers were also built to execute them on the larger scale. So we have seen this much in our last class. Now, today we are going to see, today we are going to start with racial utopia. Racial utopia means, the racial means major groups, that is the physical characteristics, and we will see how they were treated, how the Jews, how or we can say that how the people in Nazi period was treated in Germany according to the basis of physical characteristics, racial purity, was being preferred more there at that time. Now, under the shadow of war, the Nazi proceeded to realize their murderer's racial ideal. Now, Nazi has given their we have seen till now that what was the feelings of Nazi. They were thought to be as murderers and as a racial ideal. And genocide and war became two sides of the same coin. Now, in Nazi, we see that genocide was the massacre, the killing of the large people in large scale. So that was called as genocide. So killing of the people and war became the two side of the same coin. That means the routine of Nazi people. You can highlight this also. That genocide and war became the two side of the same coin. Then occupied Poland was divided up. Now this when a Nazi had control over Poland, they had divided Poland into two parts. We have seen that they had divided into Poland into two parts now, and much of the northern western Poland was annexed to Germany, and the other part was called as general government. Now, when occupied Poland was divided up, much of the northern western Poland was annexed to Germany, means it was brought under the Germany. Then Polish were forced to leave their homes and properties behind to be occupied by ethnic Germans. Now, these Polish, as with Jews, Polish were also the sufferers uh, by the Nazis. So they were forced to leave their homes and their properties to be occupied by the ethnic groups, by the people of group, that is uh, who share ethnic groupings, who share the common history, common culture of Germany people. So these Polish people had to leave their properties and homes for them. Then Polish were then herded like cattle in other part called general government. Now, as we have seen earlier that this Poland was divided after the Nazi had occupied Poland. They had divided this Poland into two parts, and one part was taken under Germany. The other part was called as general government, in which these Polish people, the people of Poland, who were treated as undesirable, they were thrown there. They were sent to there, we can say, uh, in the general government. So it was the part where undesirable, where the Polish people, the general government was the part of Poland only, but this was the part where the people of Poland, that is Polish, were sent to this part where they were killed in the gas chambers, where in this general government they were killed in the gas chambers, and large number of Jews were also killed. So the destination of all undesirable of the empire. So what was this general government? This was the destination, that is the final home for all undesirables. And members of the police intelligentsia were murdered in the large number. That means the people of police who were highly educated people, who were considered in the group, who came in the group of highly intelligent or educated people of police, they were murdered there in general government in large number, so that the entire people intellectually and spiritually can survive. That is, the people who survive in the Nazi period would serve to the Nazi government only and please the Nazi people only. That is why all the undesirables who were treated very badly, they were sent to general government, the part of Poland where they were finally persecuted and killed in the gas chambers. Then further we see that Polish children who looked like Aryans were forcibly snatched from their mothers. Now the Polish children, the people of Poland were treated very badly as undesirables by the Nazis. But if they were seeing that they were examined that if they find any Polish children who was looking like the Aryan, it was forcibly uh, snatched from their mother. That child was forcibly taken by the Nazi people, which that child who was in in the looking wise, he was little bit like the Aryan, and Aryans were considered as very much desirable people for the Nazis. So if even if in the Polish children, the people, the children of Poland were in more familiar like Aryans, they were forcibly uh, taken away by their mothers, and they were examined by the race experts. These children were examined forcibly by the race experts whether they are really they belong to the Aryans or not. And if they passed the race test, they were raised in German families, and if not, they were deposited in the orphanage where most perished. That means mostly these children died. But in the race experts used to examine these children who used to look most probably like the Aryans, Nordic Aryans. And if these children passed the test, then they were raised up like the German families properly, like the Aryans, Nordic Aryans. But if they failed to pass the race experts, then these children were given in the orphanages. They were sent in the orphanages to make them die over there. I think this much is clear. With some of the largest ghettos and gas chambers, the general government also served as the killing field of the for the Jews. So these ghettos and gas chambers not only was the killing operation, killing area for the Polish people who were considered as undesirables, but this was also for the Jews. These Jews people who were also considered as undesirable, they were also sent by the Nazi people to these general governments so as to give them to torture them badly, to give them harsh treatment over there, to in the gas chambers, and finally make them die over there only. Now this is the one of the freight cars used to deport Jews to the death chambers. Now this type of cars were used by the Nazi people to send the Jews to the gas chambers and all to make them die. Now, this is the steps to death. You can read this yourself. What type of persecution the Jews were suffering, what type of ghettoization. That means the ghetto chambers, they were suffering of gas chambers and all the persecution made by the Nazi people to the Jews uh, for the mass killing operation. Now, coming to the youth in Nazi, Hitler was fanatically interested in the youth of the country. Now, Hitler was very keen in the in uprising of the youth in Germany. He felt that a strong Nazi society could be established only by teaching children Nazi ideology. Now, Hitler was of the view that if the young children will be taught by if the young children will be taught the Nazi ideas, Nazi ideology, then it would be more uh, good and at the part of the Nazi society. It will make the Nazi society more strong if the youth will also be included in the party. And this required a control over the child both inside and outside school. So for this, they had to adopt few ways by which the youth, the children of Nazi can be have control over by inside as well as outside the school by the Nazi people to make the Nazi society more strong. What happened in school under Nazism. Now, under Nazism, what was the condition of school at that time? Now, all schools were cleansed and purified. Now, how this school were cleansed and purified? Now, this meant that the teachers who were Jews or seen as politically unreliable were dismissed. Now, under this cleansed and purification of the Nazi school, the teachers who were thought to be the Jews and unreliable, they were dismissed from their services. And children were first segregated. Children were first segregated. Segregated means children were first separated, that German and Jews could not sit together or play together. Now, in the school also, this differentiation of racial differentiation was made among children. First of all, the children teachers were removed, were dismissed, who were treated as unreliable. Then, secondly, the children division of children was there among the Jews and Germans. They were not sitting together. They would not play together. Subsequently, undesirable children, that is, Jews, the physically handicapped, gypsies, they were all thrown out of the school. And finally, in 1940s, they were taken to gas chambers. So these type of ill treatment was done by the Nazi society, the Nazi people, for the Jews or undesirable, that is, gypsies, physically handicapped. They were all considered as undesirable, and they were all sent to gas chambers. Clear? Now, good German children were subjected to the process of Nazi schooling. Now, those who were considered as good German, that is, the Aryan German people, were considered as good German people. They were uh, further subjected to the process of giving the schooling in Nazi society. A prolonged period of ideology training, that means training, particular type of training was given for long time to these type of children who were considered as desirable, the German, pure German people, children. School textbook were rewritten again. The textbook, the changes were made in the textbook. Racial science was introduced to justify Nazi ideas of race. That means the new subject was introduced, that is racial science, during the Nazi period, and it justifies that the stereotypes about Jews was popularized, even though maths classes, even through maths classes, even the maths classes were being had, but whatever the belief was there for the Jews, it was all means popularized during the main classes, other subject classes also, about the Jews and undesirable, that they were the killers of the uh, Christ, and they were also taking the large amount of money, and all these, that the money, they were the money lenders, and they were accepting the large amount of money, and all that type of beliefs were given, were popularized among the children also during the other subject classes. Then, even the function of the sports was nurture a spirit of violence and aggression among the children. Even in the sports and all, the functions and all, the two different types of children aggression was shown, that against these undesirables. And Hitler believed that boxing could make children iron-hearted, strong, and masculine. So Hitler supported this boxing in the school to make the Nazi children strong hearted and masculine, strong enough. Now, youth organizations were made responsible for educating German youth in the spirit of National Socialism. So now youth organizations also were set up for the for educating the youth of German, and that was the spirit of National Socialism. 10-year-old had to enter junk world. Now, 10-year-old students, or we can say 10-year-old children, had to join the junk world. Now, what was this junk world? This was this was the Nazi youth groups for children below 14 years of age. So all 14, all the boys at 14 years, all the boys had to join the Nazi youth organization, Hitler Youth, where they learned to worship war, glorify aggression and violence, condemn democracy means they should criticize democracy and hate Jews, communists, and gypsies, and all those categorized as undesirables. So, all these beliefs, all these ideologies were given to the youth, that is at the age of 14 only. Then further we see that after a period of rigorous ideological and physical training, they joined the labor service, usually at the age of 18. So at the age of 10 years old, they had to enter Junkvolk, that was the group made by the Nazi. Then after Junkvolk, they had to join the youth organization, that was Hitler Youth. After that, again they had to join the labor service, usually at the age of 18. So this was one after the other. These German people had to enter those who considered as desirable according to Nazis. Then they had to serve in the armed forces and enter one of the Nazis organization. And finally, these youth were had to serve the armed forces of the Nazis. Now, this is the figure 24. Jewish teacher and Jewish people expelled from school under the jeers of classmates. Mean these Jewish people, these Jewish children are taken away, sent out of the school. It is shown here like this. Now, the Youth League of the Nazi was founded in 1922. 4 years later, it was renamed Hitler Youth. Now, the Youth League of Nazis was also founded, and later on, it was termed as uh, termed renamed as Hitler Youth. You can underline these things. What is junk work and labor service and all clear? Now, next, to unify the youth movement under Nazi control, all other youth organizations were systematically dissolved and finally banned. Now, those movements under Nazi control, all the other youth organizations which were not under the control, they were systematically dissolved and they were stopped. Finally, they were stopped, banned. Now here the new word Junkvolt, Nazi youth groups for children below 14 years of age. So below 14 years they had to join Junkvolt, after that labor group and all that was we have already seen. Now source C and source D you will read yourself. Clear? Now, this is the picture shown here, desirable children that Hitler wanted to see multiplied. That means they want more and more desirable people, Aryan, Nordic Aryan children, so that to make the Nazi strong. The German blooded infant with his mother being brought from the occupied Europe to annex Poland for settlement. Now, this is the sign, swastika sign for Nazis. I hope you will read this yourself. And if it is any doubt in this, you can ask me afterwards. Okay. Now, the Nazi cult of motherhood. Children in Nazi Germany were repeatedly told that women were radically different from men. Now, again and again, it was repeated there in Nazi Germany that women were very much different from the men. The fight for equal rights for men and women had become democratic struggle anywhere was wrong, and it would destroy the society. So according to Nazis, the fight for equality of man and woman was totally wrong, and it will destroy the society. So in Nazi society we had seen that women were also not given equal position in the society. While boys were taught to be aggressive, masculine, and steel hearted, Girls were told that they had to become good mothers, rare, pure blooded Aryan children. So, this was the clear distinction made in the Nazi society that boys were taught to be aggressive, masculine, and steel hearted, whereas on the other side, the girls were treated uh, to become a good mothers and to rear pure-blooded Aryan children only. And girls had to maintain the purity of race, distance themselves from the Jews. Means these girls, Nordic Aryan girls, they German girls, they should not indulge in any activities with the Jews because Jews were considered as undesirable, and they should look after these girls should look after their home and teach their children the Nazi values only. So this was the condition of women, or we can say girls, in the Nazi society. They had to be the bearers of Aryan culture and race. That means they had to bear only the Aryan children only to uplift the culture and race of Nordic Aryan people. I think this much clear. In 1933, Hitler said that in my state, the mother is the most important citizen. Now, in 1933, Hitler was of the view that mothers were the most important citizen. Why? Because they had the duty to upbring the Nordic Aryan children. But in Nazi Germany, all mothers were not treated equally. Only women who bore racially undesirable children were punished. Now, they were not treated, all the women were not treated equally. Women who bore the children means they were undesirable women were punished badly, who and those who produced the racially desirable children were awarded. Now, how these children who were considered, how these women who were considered as desirable, who bore the desirable children, were awarded? They were given favored treatment in the hospitals. They were also entitled the concession in the shops and the theaters and the tickets and the railway fares. These types of concessions were given to the women who produced the desirable children. And even honor crosses were awarded to these women. Like the bronze cross was given to for the four children, silver for the six, and gold for the eight or more. So the woman who used to bore uh, that four children, that woman was given the bronze cross by the Nazi people, and who bore the six desirable children, that woman was given silver, and eight and more than eight, if that woman was having children of the Aryan or a desirable children, then that woman was getting gold. So this type of clear distinction was made between women also who used to bore the desirable and non-desirable children. All Aryan women who deviated from the prescribed code of conduct was publicly condemned. Now, before continuing this paragraph, I want to just state that for subject enrichment activity, I am going to give the subject enrichment activity in the group also and in the student portal also. According to that subject enrichment activity, I have given the roll numbers. You have to make the project on disaster management, and on disaster management everything in detail I have written in that PDF. You go through that PDF, and if anything not clear in that PDF, you can call me. Clear in that PDF according to the roll numbers I have given the uh, different disasters according to the roll numbers I have given. So according to your own roll number, you have to take that particular disaster and write 9 to 10 pages on that disaster management, and what all things to be included in that uh, project. All in detail I have given you. If you will go through it properly, you will understand what you have to do it. And then I have sent that Google form link also in that same PDF. You will upload, you will make that PDF on that project, what you have written, That project should be handwritten, and as you have made PDF for the examinations, in the examination, same way you have to make PDF of all the pages of the project, and you have to upload it on the Google Form link. Am I clear? That Google Form link also I will give it to you in that same PDF, which I will give that PDF in the group as well as in the student portal. And if anything not clear, you can surely ask me after 12 o'clock, because till 12 o'clock I am having my classes. And you can upload that on the Google Form, that project, in the means before 25th. I think 25th I had given the date. You go through the project first, and then also if you are not clear, you can ask in the group or in the personally. If you can call me, you can call me after the class. When this video will be uploaded now, daily I am uploading this video in the student portal. Their live video content uploaded, their PDF is also will be there, so you will see the PDF there also. Plus in the group also I'm going to send, and any doubt you can ask me. Clear? And tomorrow also we are having the class. If you go through that project, if any doubt, you can ask me tomorrow also. But enter join the class earlier, means as soon as 9:40 is there. So within 5 minutes we will discuss about that, whatever doubts you are having for the subject enrichment activity. Now you can type present once again, and I end up here only.